All right, I'm going to split lesson 3.28 into two parts. So today we're going to be doing ordered pair relationships. Our I can statement up here says that I can identify the relationship between points on a coordinate plane. Okay, so our first vocabulary word today here is quadrants. Quadrants are the four different areas or regions that we break a coordinate plane up into, and we separate those by the x and the y-axis. Okay, so we're going to separate them by the x and the y-axis, just like before. All right, so coordinate one, or quadrant, sorry, quadrant one is right here. Quadrant one is when you have two positive numbers. The x and the y coordinate is positive. Okay, quadrant two, so we're going to go counterclockwise. We're going to go this way. Quadrant two is when the x is a negative and the y is a positive. Then we go down just counterclockwise. Quadrant three is both negatives. Both numbers, the x and the y, have to be negative. And then in quadrant four, you have a positive x, okay, and a negative y. All right. So now, as we're working and we have a coordinate pair, okay, there's two ways you can do this. First of all, in the green down here, it says you to find the quadrant of an ordered pair, you can look at the negative and the positive signs for each coordinate, okay? So, that's the best way to do it. Let's take a look at the blue box real quick. Let's just simply graph one. If you have an ordered pair, let's say I have 1 to 2. Okay, if you look at this, 1 is positive and 2 is positive. They're both positive. Okay, so if I could you can simply graph it. Start with your x, go to -1, and then go up to -2 and graph your point. And you can see that this is going to be in quadrant one. And notice I'm using Roman numerals. All right. I is a Roman numeral one. You can just make it look the way the book did also. Okay. If I have a coordinate of a -2 and let's say 4, now I have a negative and I have a positive. So I can just graph -2 and then I can go to +4 and I'm up here and I can see I'm in coordinate or quadrant number 2. All right, that's one way that you can do this. In the green box here, though, it says you can just look at your signs. If you have a positive and a positive, okay, right here, a positive and a positive, if you look here, that's quadrant one. On this one, I have a negative and then I have a positive. A negative and a positive are here. This is quadrant number 2. So if I give you one more and I say I have a -1 and I have a -1, okay? I have a negative and a negative. So if I have two negatives, that's going to be over here in quadrant number 3. So this would be quadrant 3. Okay? You just need to know your signs. If I were you, I would take the time to go ahead and memorize what signs are in each quadrant, or at least what is in quadrant 1, and then you can just create your own coordinate grid and it'll help you find where you're supposed to be. All right, boys and girls, our next lesson is going to have to do with reflections and line of symmetry. All right, happy math.